Hey, hey, hey! Welcome to another episode of the Neo, East, and Jam Show. My name is Neo. We have East.
Hey, welcome guys. Thanks for showing up.
We have Jam.
I just got sexy back. If anyone looking for it.
You don't see it?
Put your glasses on.
And we have a very, very special guest, Liz.
The Queen Elizabeth. Hello, everyone.
Hello,
Hey, Liz. Welcome to the show. So happy to have you.
Thanks. Happy to be here.
Great. So, just to give you a little background, we're four friends, this time, from high school, with very different opinions. We tackle all kind of topics, pop culture, politics, health, social topics, and we're calling bull.
Chinese.
$10.
When there's something egregious. So, we have a really great show ahead. We have Smoking Hot Topics with Jam. We're going to be talking the NFL Draft in review and some funny moments. We're going to be doing some anti-bullying. Is it making America soft? Very big question. And not trying to start anything, but one of the favorites here. So, contrary to the name of the show, I'm calling bulls. There's no cussing allowed. All right? $10. $10 to the tip jar. That includes you, Liz, your guest host.
I thought guest got perks.
Nope, no perks. Nope.
$20 for kids times two.
And Jam, what happens after 3 times?
So after your not first, not second, but third violation, in this case we're expecting Pirate Liz to be cursing up a storm something fierce. Once she hits 3 violatory curse words, we shall compose for her an ode to Trump, full of all the love that we can muster. She'll post that on her Facebook page, and we'll leave it there for a day. That will be big.
We're gonna have her put this picture. We're gonna put the picture on the page.
Look who else brought sexy back. But anyway, that's how it goes down. What you got, Neil?
All right. So let's we want to introduce the audience to us a little bit. So I have a question for you guys. Tell me a memory from high school you have with Liz. I'll start with East.
Don't be shy.
I'll say, and Liz, you probably don't remember this. I think we agreed to exchange gifts or something. And what I remember is I actually still owe you the gift. So,
We're going to make that happen.
So I got
It's going to have to happen.
And see, we're almost 30 years later. I have upgraded tremendously. Chanel.
Full-time white elephant. You said full-time white elephant.
Okay, but yeah, I definitely owe you. We'll work on that offline, but yeah, I owe you.
All right,
I think
Jam.
we need to work on that online.
Jam, what do you remember?
Oh, I remember being all excited about going to somebody's house. I was delivering a book, and ding dong, you know who came to the door? Not Liz. Liz's daddy felt just like Bad Boys. He who came to the door, and he had like a thing he spoke with. I almost shitat my pizzazz. I was like, oh my god. I'm sorry, I just had a bye. And that's my memory of Liz. Number one.
I thought you shook like that.
Yeah, he was, you know, he's like that sometimes. You get what you get.
All right. So my memory is we used to play cards in Dahlgren's class. You know, we had the card club, right? And so we played spades like every day at lunchtime, and you would come by all the time to kind of say hi, and you were really friendly to all of us. Not that we were nerds or anything, but yeah, we might have been.
But if
I was a nerd. I was just a smart girl nerd. I'm more friendly with my nerdness.
No, we won't talk about Dahlgren because he was a little touchy-feely.
not talking, that's another.
Oh no.
Yeah, another show
We're not going to go there. But that's another episode. We'll have an episode about that.
Yes, we will.
All right, so Liz, what do you remember about us?
Okay, so it's not Sheridan. I have never in my life fought the beast. So that's kind of a new nickname for me. I just remember Sheridan being always the calm for me. Like kind of laid back and quiet. He had a few jokes here and there, but he was always quiet, always respectful. Except now I know that he can give me my gift, so I might have to come up off that.
Yes.
He was always
I want my
Don't let him fool you. Don't let him fool you.
for Julius, aka Jam Master J. This Dallas class again, sitting next to him. He was the first person to introduce me to the game. I won't even know how we started talking about it, but he bought me a copy of Salem Slot. And from then on, I have been addicted. I have read everything that man has written, watched all the movies, the good and the bad. I have his son's books. So yes, I applaud you. Thank you for that introduction. For Antonio, and I started the Battle of the Minds back in 5th grade in Miss Rita's class. So he sat next to me in Miss Rita's class, and because that was this class, this International Studies Program class, I always thought he was a whisperer, like the rest of us. But he told me that they could get 4 or 5 years ago that the rest of us in all of our classes. But I also remember that he was very smart, very bright, had a lot of curly hair, and that he was dating Clea Boy.
Oh! Remember that? Okay. I remember where you're going. Okay, all right. Yes, I did. Okay. Just call me out. I did it. Okay.
Shots fired.
Right.
Well, with that said, let's move on. So let's get to some hot topics. What you got?
All right. My topic. All right. My topic. First hot topic we got. Guess who might be getting their job back? Any guesses? Come on. In the time of Trump? No one's talking to you. The Navy is looking to reinstate Captain Brett Crozier. What? You guys remember? He was removed from his. What you got, Liz?
She said, "Power to the people."
Yes.
If you guys remember, he was removed from his post for being honest about the state of his ship. What worst way to go? Any other comments?
Oh.
I just think it's a reflection of the total disrespect for our armed forces at this point, particularly the Navy and the type of disarray they're in, especially since it has recently come out that he didn't write the letter to as many people, or send the letter to as many people as they originally said he did. So there's a lot of BS, no cursing, going on behalf of the Navy, the FAD, and the White House administration. So hopefully they will reinstate him and get back to some good leadership in the Navy.
Yeah, he never deserved to lose his job in the first place. He did the right thing by calling out, the administration. Well, he didn't call out the administration, but he did the right thing by writing that letter about his ship was in danger. His sailors were in danger, and he needed to do something about that.
But I believe didn't they hold up the reinstatement on Friday?
I think they said that they will to for the more for internal official investigation. So yeah, in other words, yeah, they're having it up.
And then it still has to walk by you know whose desk.
Right.
So
they can still be correct about it.
it could all be empty drum. I get having so much trouble hearing you. So if you can turn it up a bit.
You're having trouble hearing me?
But, yeah, you too. If you do the input thing. Alright. So the next one, guys, we got this one. It was just random. How many of you guys, when you were younger, used to watch Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Any Buffy fans back in the day?
Yeah.
Wow. Crickets? Well, I wasn't a big fan myself. I come to find out Dolly Parton was producer. How about that? Dolly Parton. I mean, come on. Like, that's how...
Really, I have no idea where you were going with this thing Dolly Parton. Okay, so she was the original Buffy. Makes sense.
The original Buffy.
That works. That works as well. I just think it's awesome that she was into that type of business. So I just wanted to... Y'all had missed it. I wanted to put you on that ship. Hopefully,
We appreciate
you won't go the way of Crozier.
I had no idea. No information to me.
No clue.
All right. Next one for you guys. I got a little Trump poo for you. A little toxic Trump, if you will. Have you guys had your shots of Clorox or Lysol yet? Just asking. As you heard by now. Go ahead.
I mean, I'm a type 1 diabetic, so I was trying to figure out like when I was gonna, put it in between my insulin shots throughout the day. But yeah, I'm gonna, work on that later on. I have to get the whole IV situation going. But yeah.
I hear if you mix it with ribeye, it goes really well.
Yeah, make sure you find a good vein. Don't go through your hand though. Try not to go through your hand.
I could be like Matt Damon in what was that movie that he did where he was shooting up through his toes? I could do it that way.
Oh yeah, that's creative.
Creative.
So, on that same vein, Trump has announced that he might pull himself from some of the daily talks we've been having, Trump visits, Trumpules.
If we could reach out,
Thank God. Please.
if only so that I've had a lot of people, because I'm a journalist, a lot of people have asked about whether or not journalists should stop covering him, whether they should stop covering him. And I think that the answer to that, at least for me personally, is no. As a journalist, it's our job to report the news, especially if you're a political reporter. You're supposed to keep your eye on the president and what's going on, so there's some level of transparency. But I think he himself, they need to pull him back from the White House, knock him upside the head, and maybe inject him with something, put him on some type of sterilizer or something, to get him back on board, because he's clearly breaking down. The mentor is not that it was there before, but he is on some bath salts. So until they get that taken care of, I do think he should step back, and maybe let Prince do, the people for a while.
I mean, I think he's just an idiot. I mean, he just doesn't have the intelligence. So what I think happened is they gave him a briefing just before he went in, and he mentally didn't understand what they were saying. So he tried to regurgitate what he heard without actually understanding what they were saying, and then he's passing on all this bad information as though he's an expert, which he isn't, obviously. So he's just an idiot.
And I think the one thing I learned is that the idiot doesn't know what he doesn't know.
Yes.
So if he would have just, but he's too arrogant to say, well, I don't understand, so let me just have Fauci and Birx speak, and I'll just advocate what they say. But Liz, if I could go back to a point you made about the journalists, when it comes to the coverage, do you think that it would be? I understand about listening to, following what the president said because he is our president. But how do you feel about some of these networks coming in and just fact checking him just alone? Don't let him have the whole 2 hours or however long he's on. Just fact check him immediately. How do you feel about that strategy?
Yeah, I would say the things of the network. I mean, there are certain networks, especially for television, that we do expect them to have some television footage. We expect them to be there in the press conference. And there are some people that want to hear what he has to say. But in terms of fact checking, I think that's something that also should go along with that. Unfortunately, we are at that stage in America where we can't trust what the president is saying. And we do have to fact check and, try to weed out all of the lies that are out there. So I think it should be both, actually. And I've read a lot of the articles that have exposed a lot of the things, a lot of the lies that people report. And it's really very tough. It's very educational, actually, for a lot of people. They not even know that they were thinking that what he said was true. In fact, they're learning something new. So I think the fact-checking process is definitely also a part of delivering good journalism.
I agree. Jim?
I got one more quick bit of info for you guys. If you are paying attention to the Marines, you will notice that as of this past Monday, they decided to no longer post their Confederate symbols, especially the flag, about town. How do you guys feel about that? Think that's fair to the rest of the Marines who want to post their flags and have them waving?
I don't understand why people want to celebrate the losing side of the Civil War. I mean, number one. Number two, flag that represents hate, division in this country. I wish. I understand why they want to do it. I understand why they love the Confederate flag. I think we just need to cut all ties with that flag. It's not a symbol of this country. It's a symbol of a group of people who tried to overthrow the government. Those weren't patriots.
Oh, you mean like Colin Kaepernick? Okay.
See how I got quiet, right?
That was on mine. You're listening to online. You're listening. No, my biggest issue was when I read the article, I was like, wait a minute. Why is this a thing now? I would have thought this would be banned, I don't know, way before. Oh, how could I forget? I'm sorry, y'all.
Go Kim!
Lil' Kim?
John has been MIA a bit of late, and there's a question as to his level of health. Whether, well, I'll let the rest of the crew elaborate. Anybody got anything to say about Kim Jong?
Well, CNN maybe like an hour ago posted an article that said South Korea is now, North Korea and South Korea, that he's alive and well. I just don't know what to think. Like, he may be alive, but that doesn't mean, he's not a vegetable. My question is, who do you think is more butthurt? Trump or Dennis Rodman?
Dennis Rodman? Dennis all the way.
Yeah, I think Dennis, yeah.
For a number of years, he doesn't have to wait on Kim.
I think Trump is still recovering from Boris, and he hasn't had time to fully reflect on life yet. Like a lot of his friends, he's grown up, and y'all aren't giving him the time he needs.
Yeah, but I'm actually interested in Kim Jong-un's sister, Kim Yo.
Yeah, I heard she is a beast. So,
I mean, what do you mean? Like a positive beast or a negative beast?
is there a positive beast? Oh yeah, no, we're talking about basketball player. Wow, like switch your throws, switch your balls, everything type
Oh,
of
so she's bad.
Yes.
Potentially worse.
potentially worse.
Oh, good to know.
At least that's what I've heard. But I'm not sure if, and I could be getting my European history incorrect. But wasn't there a sister or it was either a sister or a sister-in-law that killed that he had murdered?
Well, I know he had his half brother killed.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. That's what
Oh, that's right.
And at least one uncle caught it as like on the edge of like that family.
Uncle Kim Rona.
And they claim they didn't know.
Kind of like South Arabia.
All right, Jam. So,
All
we
right,
ready?
that's it for smoking hot this week, baby.
So we ready for some shout outs.
All right, let me hit y'all with a few shout outs. What's up, Aquila? How you doing? Stuart, good to see you. Oh my
Been pretty busy.
Pinto, Jocelyn, what y'all up to? Michelle, oh my gosh, I remember that one time in band camp. Wait, what's up, Ty? How you doing? Thanks for showing up. Good to see you guys. Let's keep on with this show. I think all of you sports junkies are gonna be into this next bad boy. We got some draft knowledge from the Liz in the East. Let's take it, y'all.
All right, thank you. So that we wanted to discuss. I think the first one that we wanted to discuss was a mom that wanted her son to have the moment to himself. And
That's this.
yeah, that's Isaiah Wilson. And the woman in the picture, that's his girlfriend. And his mom was Liz, you want to comment on that?
Like, one, I was upset that the camera didn't get Mom's expression during that, because I wanted to see Mom's whole face in front of her with that. But you have to infer that there has been a negative history between mom and girlfriend. But you know what happens with mom and brothers and their sons. All the while it's spoiled by your mamas, and it's ridiculous. But I think I think there's some other underlying issues going on there that, some folks don't want to talk about during the whole process. And notice this, look at a lot of players when they get drafted, they have the families around them, and yes, the girlfriends are there, but the girlfriends aren't following the spotlight the way this young lady appears to be a little bit.
Right.
Gives me an opportunity for everyone to congratulate the young man. But now, on a side note, there's also probably the interracial aspect of this. You have a white girlfriend, you have a black player, you have a black mama. And in some circles, that causes a lot of tension. So I think that the way she, I thought she was going to body slam her for a second, seriously. But the way she snatched her up, it was a little intense. It was a little intense. And think about this also. He didn't say anything. He kind of just looked at you.
Yeah. He didn't stand up for his girl.
You see his eyes? You see his eyes?
Yeah.
He was like, okay, mama, whatever you say.
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you this. If it's me, I'm the girlfriend of the situation. I love my man, but that would be the last time your mama puts her hands on me. Yeah, it would have been on.
I can see that.
Wait a minute. See, if y'all had a discussion though before all this popped off, and you decided to do it anyway,
A discussion about
don't be off on my son during it. Don't be off on my son during his moment. Don't do it. It's his moment.
She is having that discussion with her.
I'll be like, tell your son not to be up on me during this moment.
Yeah, you follow
The
the
character is room for more than one butt. Why is your butt taking up?
call it like it is. That's right.
I would not. On me and mama, it would have been all like Donkey Kong. Do not put your hands on me. But I did think it was very telling because he's gonna have, if he continues this relationship with this young lady, it's gonna be a long ride home. A long ride.
You know, and I get the feeling like I don't think that relationship, not because of that situation per se, but it's a lot of times, you know, the girl that you brought to the draft is not the one you marry. Like, look at Russell Wilson. You know, when he came out, he had a
The iconic picture where she had that crazy look on her face.
Right. You know, and then, like, I believe either right around the time he signed his extension, that relationship was over. The next thing you know, Russell Wilson marries Sierra. It's a wrap. So
That's the way it is for football players.
yeah.
I mean, it sounds good. I'm just saying, like, did she get her 15 minutes? That's not her 15 minutes to get. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's fine. But he wanted me to have those 15 minutes because he didn't ask me to get up off his dog.
Yeah, see,
That's not what he was trying to get.
the dad.
All right.
Was that the dad?
Yeah, that's the dad.
Yeah, the dad.
Are you serious?
15 minutes.
Yeah, this is Javon Kinlaw. He got drafted by the 49ers. And
I didn't even see him in the picture. This is just the dad. Where's Javon?
it was reported that the 49ers were the dad's favorite team. So he was so happy that he got drafted by the 49ers, he just fell out.
That was awesome. Good daddy. Why wasn't he on his lap?
Wait, why wasn't?
Shout out to Javon Kinlaw's dad. There was also C.D. Lamb and the cell phone. C.D. Lamb, yeah, give me that. You don't need that.
Well, I need to make this bigger.
Yeah. C.D. Lamb's girlfriend thinks she's gonna see the phone. Nope, give me that. You don't need that.
Man, you see the head down? Nah.
Yeah, you don't need that. Yeah, and you
I will say this: they were both smooth with it. Like there was no argument. She took the phone, took it back. You know.
right.
I love how they immediately tried to clarify the situation because this went viral. So this was the first one that went viral, at least the first one that I saw. Then I saw the video about what pissed me off kind of about this situation is when Trae Young injected himself into the scenario. Did you guys see that?
No.
So Trae Young.
Yeah.
So Trae Young, NBA player Trae Young, also went to University of Oklahoma. Trae Young dated this young lady. And so when this video went viral, he tweeted it and tweeted out some like stuff. Like a couple of tweets. He's like, Trae, seriously? First of all, mind your business. Mind your business. And then people started to talk about how she's at home because she first dated Trae Young and now she's dating this guy. And I'm like, okay, do you think either one of them were virgins? Like, why does the onus always come on the young lady? Like, you know, it's not like even if she hadn't dated the next guy she dated after Trae Young wasn't a baller, it doesn't mean that Trae Young is going to be her only boyfriend in life. Like, we are allowed to date. As it relates to the phone, I don't know what she did, but the idea that she came up with after the fact that the agent was calling and so she took that. I mean, I wouldn't have said anything. I just would have let it go viral and go on. You know that wasn't the agent. If it was the agent, what were you going to say? Hey, agent, hold on for a sec. Oh, she thought that was a girl. She thought that was the next young lady in his Rolodex, and she wanted to intercept that.
Yeah, very well said. Like,
I think he got somebody on the side for sure.
already?
Oh, come on.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
I'm saying I have no doubt that there's someone on the side. And
Oh, someone. Many ones.
many ones.
Many ones.
So why even bring a girl to the dinner party then? You're committing her.
Eye candy? What?
That's what I'm talking about.
Look, I'm wearing an eye candy.
The main goal is always going to be invited. Main goal is always going to be invited. That's just how these things go. Plus, these aren't very right when it comes to this type of situations. When I as sports journalist, I used to go to games where players would have the wife and the girlfriend at the game in the same section. And then the fight on the tunnel after the game. They're not very smart when it comes to juggling young ladies.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So what you're saying is we need to have a show that lays out those rules. Okay.
Now, you can't name names, can you?
Give us a call. Train you up. Okay.
Don't comment, but I can name one name. Chris Webber. So Chris Webber at one point was dating Ananda Lewis, Tyra Banks, and Nia Long. And three beautiful women. And at one particular game, they all showed up, and they were ready to scrap.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
These things happen.
Oh, do they?
Sherry, I was asking you, did you hear about what's his name? Derek Brown. So this was another draft story. Derek Brown, after he got drafted, a newspaper wrote there was an online company that wrote an article about how Trevor's family life, and in the headline they put family life with his baby mama. Consider the term baby mama being used. He was like, that's a trash term. Don't refer to her like that. Don't disrespect. So online, people were going back and forth because they're not married, and they were like, oh, well, but she is a baby mama. And so that became the conversation about his draft day, about girlfriend versus mother of my child versus baby mama.
yeah, I didn't hear about that, but I always go with the mother of my child. I mean, that's just, there's a lot of, I feel
You
this.
said always?
Connotation.
Wait.
Huh?
Just
Like, this young lady's white, but back when it's and all that.
When it comes to certain racial and then a certain lower socioeconomic individuals, it's a negative connotation when you say baby mama. And kind of mean, some people might mean just, well, you could be just sleeping around indiscriminately. But that's a negative connotation. I understand why he would get upset. But
I totally got it.
Yeah.
I totally got it. Like, they easily put a girlfriend in the headline and call it a day. Like, there was no need for that at all.
Yeah. Just like,
But yeah,
oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say it was a rough day for a lot of girlfriends.
it sounded like it.
It was a lot
A
going
really
on.
rough day. Just a girlfriend in the NFL.
Also, there was a situation when T. Higgins got drafted by the Bengals, and the ESPN put up a graphic that his mother was a drug addict for 16 years. Like, okay,
Wow.
that's not
that even
material.
necessary?
Right. I mean, this man, I think he won 2 national championships at Clemson. They went to 3 national championships total. I mean, there was enough football information to discuss. Why was that germane to this topic? Like,
That's what they do.
yeah. And there was some other stuff too. Like,
That's what they do.
it is crazy. But in terms of the draft, just one draft related question. How do you feel about the Packers trading up to get Jordan Love at quarterback, I guess, at the future?
I think correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that Jordan Love tweeted out something that Aaron Rodgers was nice to him or had already reached out to him once he got drafted. And I think they need to start looking towards the future. I think they don't want the same situation that they're going to have with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, where you have that, I'm going to ice you out, I'm not going to help you out, then. And I think Aaron Rodgers has to set a better example. But Aaron Rodgers is going to be there forever. The Packers, this is the last time the Packers won. So it's time that they start putting this in place to think about the future and how we're going to move forward. I think it was a good move.
So I don't know Jordan Love's talent, but I can certainly speak to Aaron Rodgers is probably on the downtrend. I mean, I think he's already reached his peak. Doesn't mean he can't still perform for another 3 to 5 years, but he's definitely on the downtrend. And same thing happened to Brett Favre when just before Aaron Rodgers. I mean, you kind of need somebody to be there and what if he gets hurt? So
Again,
I think it's a good move.
And also too, that offensive schemes are changing, and with new coaches that are coming in that are teaching these new schemes, that means that a younger quarterback is going to be more receptive to that than an Aaron Rodgers, who's been there for years and he's a certain mindset to play at home.
Yeah.
I mean, personally, my issue with the pick, it wasn't the pick, it was that in such a deep draft for wide receivers, they didn't pick any. So they had a chance to maybe get a wide receiver in the 3rd or 4th round that could maybe help now, and they didn't do it. I think the only pass catch they drafted was a tight end. So
But maybe with such a deep level of choices, they knew they could always come back and revisit and still get somebody who they expected to be quality.
Or maybe through free agency later this year. We'll have to get this season in the fall. What do you guys think about Blake Chase for this Washington?
Oh yeah. The what? What team?
The Anacostia.
the Washington what?
Washington Anacostia.
Southeasters.
Southeast.
Anacostia.
Southeasters.
I don't know that team. Was that the XFL team? I know they went bankrupt, but maybe that was an XFL team or something.
Well, they used to play in Southeast.
Oh, okay. All right. Got it. Never heard of them before.
They used to play well.
But I've heard of this team. This Washington team.
It's when they played in Southeast.
Played well. Period.
Right.
In Southeast.
I know this Washington team they call the Skins.
I mean,
That's
it's a
the
great
team
thing.
I
Yeah. I mean,
Don't fall for the bait, gentlemen. Don't fall for the bait.
We're not talking about that. Not talking about that East.
I mean, they had to get him. He's a game changer, a potential game changer.
I just don't want them to win him. That's my only
Yes,
concern.
agreed. That's what they do.
I think it's good that, if he's from the area, so he'll have a lot of support. He's a farmer, so he'll have a lot of support. But we know how that organization is and their reputation with bringing good young talent.
Yes.
So I'm just like, hopefully people break the chain, people break the hold that horrible ownership has had over these players.
Yeah, Liz, I think it like I hope he has a lot of family support. But then, working with kids on my job, I see the other side of it where your friends and your clique, they kind of pull at you.
Yeah, they do.
I'm worried that with him coming back to the area, like I don't know his friend network. I hope he has a positive. If he has a positive friend network, positive family network, he should be good. But if he has any negativity around him, I'm gonna be concerned because it's not like he's away from home and he could just shut people out. They could literally just go to his house and say, "What's up, Chase? What's going on?" So I'm concerned from that. I'm actually concerned when, especially DC, when somebody from DC comes back home I'm just concerned.
That's true.
You know, yeah.
So you think he's gonna be at the Argo?
And
You think he's gonna be at the Argo at class studies? Going to see Backyard,
yeah,
Junkyard,
For everybody watching this show, if y'all see Chase Young at the club past 2 o'clock, tell him to go home.
go home.
Right? School night. School night.
Go home, Chase. And that's for everybody.
everybody.
Give him an Uber ride. He needs the Uber. Uber ride. It's always New Year's.
Have a curfew.
It's funny. Stewart says the Snyders is what they are right now. They've been the Skins since the early 90s. Stewart,
Yeah.
I agree.
I mean, I don't think the name is a curse at all. I had someone say that to me, like, why they have a one name because it's because of the name. And I'm like, oh, please do know them about him. That has nothing to do with the other. The name is just racist and offensive. In the discussion.
I mean, yeah.
I second the motion.
What's your name?
Where's the guy?
What name are you referring to? I don't know what name you're talking about.
I won't say it. It's
The Neo Skin. Neo Skin. The Snyders. How racist can you get?
All right, guys. So we ready to change the topic a little bit?
Change direction.
Get a little more serious.
Sure.
All right. Let's get into the next segment, which would be anti-bullying. Is it making us too soft?
Lead with the left.
So, I've heard this generation of kids referred to as the fragile generation. This is kind of where the idea came from. Because the question is, I mean, are we raising a generation of wimpy kids? Yeah, and is anti-bullying part of the reason? And then are the anti-bullying efforts, are they making our kids soft? I mean, what's going on? I'm gonna actually start with East on this one. Wait, I'm gonna start with East on this one. What do you think, East? Initial thoughts.
Don't disappoint me, Sharon.
Go for it, Sharon. Don't listen to her. Say what's on your mind.
Yeah.
Don't listen to Liz.
Unfortunately, I do have a history of disappointing Liz, so. So
This is their family channel.
right.
Sharon.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the face of that statement. Is anti-bullying making us too soft? I mean, I think that when I think of soft, I'm thinking problem solving, getting out of being able to stand up for yourself, not depending on your parents or somebody to always come and save you and rescue you and kind of just clear the path for you. And I'm not. I gotta walk a tightrope because I'm not condoning bullying. But some of the tactics, like the zero tolerance policies that have been enacted, aren't. There have been studies to say they aren't working. Like they've been unfairly used against people of color, especially in school settings. There have been a lot more suspensions and expulsions have been unequally shifted towards brown and black people because of zero tolerance.
So can you explain zero tolerance real quick?
Zero tolerance is a policy that was enacted in order to make the schools, specifically school settings, a safe place.
So basically, if there's any incident, say for example, there's a 5-year-old, call somebody a name, then they could potentially be expelled, right?
Exactly.
Or if somebody's defending themselves on the schoolyard, they could eventually be held accountable in some way, punished.
Exactly.
Right.
So, I mean, there's studies that show that when these expulsions occur, when these suspensions occur, these the setting at school is not necessarily improved, because if going with that argument, if you get rid of all the negative influences at school, then school should be a safe place.
Right.
But that's not necessarily happening.
Let's go to Liz real quick. What are your thoughts, Liz?
I think that I think one, there are a lot of variables with this topic. I think, first and foremost, a child should never be put in a situation where they don't feel safe, where they feel like they are intimidated, they're scared, that someone is going to physically harm them, or that they can't just be themselves without someone ridiculing them constantly.
Let me jump in real quick. I just have a quick question. So you said physically harm. Are we saying that bullying is specifically physical harm?
No, but I'm including that in the equation because it happens more often than we like to talk about.
Okay.
But a lot of what's happening now is a lot of the traditional forms of bullying. Also now we talk about cyberbullying. And that might be more detrimental because that goes viral. Like you post pictures, you post rumors, you put things out there off the web where everybody can see, not just people who but everyone can. And then that's the children have to deal with that. I don't think the no tolerance policy is bad. Do I agree with Sharon that yes, we make influence towards black and brown people? I absolutely agree. But I think that's another component that we dealt with outside of putting rid of bullies. I don't think that anti-bullying efforts is making anything stop. I was never bullied as a child because I lived with the bullying in my mother. But my mother also taught me to always defend yourself. You have to understand that a lot of children don't have the capacity to do that, especially children who are special. Especially children overall. Not everyone has the capacity or the luxury to get up and defend themselves. And a lot of them don't have communities where they have friends that feel like they can help them, they can stand up. And I think the last thing you should want is to figure out to school and have them feel like they're not safe. Because not only is that detrimental to their physical needs, but then they're not learning. They're not learning things.
Sure.
So I'm very anti-bullying. And I'll stand up for all the children out there. Call me. I will fight against for you.
All right. Dan?
All right. I'm having been a bit of a bully when I was younger.
I knew it.
Don't choke on that. So I think there's valuable experience. This is more of a general take on it. I think one of the things that makes us who we are as we get older is the empathy that we have the ability to learn as you learn about good and bad decisions. And for some people, I think that's very black and white as we look at the maturity process. Like there's some people who don't offend, who don't have like a larger personality or don't have an abrasive personality, and so they don't have to learn to not be abrasive. But on the other hand, there are people who have to learn those skills, and examples where you learn that aren't always best served up in school. That's not the way it's always communicated. Like even our parents, who we may or may not carry grudges from, that's not how they learn. I'm not saying it's the best way, but it is the way once we step outside of such a protected environment.
Yes.
We like the lessons that, and I'll only mention your mom because you did real quick. The lessons that your mom learned, did she learn them from somewhere? And for me, the lessons that I learned from my father or other people, where did they learn them? And so we still have to process those as their children, but there is still a process of learning that stuff, of correcting it and figuring out what's wrong and right, and they're going through it too. And those same children, the ones who are excluded because maybe they're considered bullies, are defending themselves. Where do they learn with something like a no-zero tolerance policy? Where do they go? Like, do they get it from the environment that they're slid into? In an environment that's exclusive because they don't fit in and they haven't learned those lessons? Like, to some extent, in my opinion, that's what we get into when we even get into these extreme political party people. Like, they don't know how to always relate on a civil level, and there's nowhere they were taught to learn that.
Yeah.
And anyway,
So Liz, just a follow-up question similar to Jam's. So you were saying that there's no one to defend them and stand up for them. So when does a child learn to stand up for themselves? How do they learn that lesson?
Sometimes they don't, which is why we are seeing an increase in kids committing suicide. Sometimes they just don't, and sometimes they just live with the fear and the pain. They fight it. They carry it on into adulthood, and then makes them more susceptible to domestic violence relationships. And that goes for the bully as well. Like, if the behavior isn't checked at some point, they carry that behavior from adolescence into adulthood. They're bringing kids in school, and then they're going to go up and they're going to do whoever is in their home, whether it's the spouse or the kids. Like I said, there are a lot of variables that there's no one. There are a lot of variables that go into this. I agree with you that the bullies are getting it from somewhere, right? Right? We can do the function. But no, the bullies are getting it from somewhere. Like, my mom got it from her being nasty.
Yes.
Like, it's a cycle that goes on from generation, and if it's unchecked, then it just keeps going on and it becomes acceptable behavior, expected. I have been, don't get me wrong, I have been a mean girl. I have been a mean girl in my life. I think it's
Not Liz.
when you know better, you do better. I don't like to say that I've been a mean girl and that I want to be bullied someone. But you guys know, and I'll take my $10 for this. I don't take shit from anybody. And so, you can get me. But I don't want us to get into the habit of looking at bullying as a rite of passage, as acceptable behavior. Because I think if you're not, it becomes really detrimental, especially now that we are seeing that a lot of kids psychologically cannot handle that type of action.
Right. So, by the way, just to let you know, 2 more times, we're going to be posting something on your Facebook for Trump. you got 2 more. I know, so you got 2 more.
All you really have to say is where you're going to send the $10 to.
So what you were saying kind of speaks into my next question. So I was reading somewhere that, and this is a great statement, so bullies are not the cause of the problem, they're the result of the problem, right? So my question is to you, by having zero tolerance or by punishing these bullies, are we really addressing the problem itself?
No.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump in. I think the problem, as I think about this as a person of color, like, I know part of the issue comes from being of color, like being dark skinned and light skinned when you're young. Like, you have to learn, like, which shade you are, which shade you think is pretty, and then you have to either decide whether you hate or you don't hate someone who's darker or lighter. And that's just that one thing. Because at least in an environment like DC, where you encounter that, that's one of those lines that's drawn. Like, we've touched on at least two Spike Lee movies. I got you, Spike. So far in our discussion, because it reaches into what it is that, like, bullying touches on, like, the origins of how you perceive yourself and others. And how you're taught to perceive yourself and others. just to begin to talk about it a little bit in that vein. And so it's a question of how does society address that in terms of socioeconomic, color, and race in America, and other stuff that I can't even begin to imagine. Weak gender, and just maybe even physical strength. There's so much, like Liz said, to even begin to think about.
So East, my question is to you is, what would you do differently than zero tolerance? How would you address the issue?
Well, I think kind of to your previous question is to get to the core of what is the genesis of the book. And to me, as I was thinking about that, part of the genesis of the bully is poor self-esteem or lack of self-esteem. When you don't care about yourself, when you don't love yourself, and you hate yourself, it's easier to hate other people and go out there and just have a total disregard for your fellow person. I see it kind of in my focus. I'm sorry?
I said, thank you, Justin Bieber. That was a great
I didn't even know that was his quote. I would have given him credit if I knew.
Love yourself.
Plagiarism.
Oh, that's right. He did say that.
Sorry. Go ahead.
But I see it on my full-time job where working with kids. You see that the parents have a tendency not to instill a high level of self-esteem within those children, and it's cyclical because the parents don't have the high self-esteem, and it's just how can we break that chain? I think that and to what you I think everybody's saying is it's a multifaceted, multi-layered issue. And it's going to take a lot of resources, time, money to kind of peel back the layers of what's really going on. Yeah.
I have one last question for you guys, since we're low on time. So, do you think that people are confusing bullying with just normal, angry, and thoughtless or hurtful behavior from a child? Maybe some people just aren't socially acclimated where they don't realize they're doing something hurtful or thoughtless, and they're calling it bullying. What do you think, Liz?
I think especially when it comes to boys, I think there is this, I don't want to call it a natural reaction, but I guess it may be a little bit innate to assign it to boys being boys when it comes to people, when it comes to bad behavior.
True.
And I think we need to keep that at the back. But on the flip side, in my opinion, and I say this as a woman, as a young lady, in the country, whatever, I think boys are the most pleased out of the two genders, male and female. Girls can be passionate.
Yes.
And I don't know what it comes from, where it comes from, but it's not just your average, I'm not going to be nice to them. There's an underlying hatred there.
On an emotional level, I agree.
On an emotional level, there's an underlying level of being sinister and I want to take you down a notch. I'm jealous. I don't fight you. I want to put you in your place. And I don't know where it comes from. Like when I was a mean girl, it wasn't necessarily that because I just thought I was the shit.
Wait, are you still using past tense?
Wait,
What?
I mean, I still think I'm the sugar honey iced tea, but I'm not. Sugar honey iced tea is not the third. It's not the third. But I'm no longer me because I've definitely educated all my friends to mature, and they should mature and have more empathy and become more compassionate. The young ladies, if you pay attention to the young ladies that are out here. It's something that I don't think I've really paid knowledge of. And I knew that there would be girls in my class. I knew there were girls that were bullying other girls. But I think even something that for me at that time, I never used something. It's not something that was really prevalent in our vocabulary back in the 80s as much as it is now. Yes. It was just, you went to school, you just had to fight for yourself. Now it's a common term and people are starting to understand it more. But I think it goes beyond just someone being mean or, someone not being nice to people. I think that's something different than a bully, because we have a term bully, think about consistency. An act that is continuing, that's going on and on. And also think about a target. It's usually a person that's going to target over and over and over again.
Yeah. All right. Jay, I want to give you the last thought.
All right, and in the words of Mr. Dahmer in the back of the class, y'all are tasty. And if I catch you, that's those are my last words.
All right. Awesome. All right, East. Bring it home.
All right. I'll do one. So we're a long time. I ain't trying to start nothing, but I think Joe Biden needs to go ahead and nominate Stacey Abrams to be VP yesterday.
Stacey Abrams? You're starting something.
Why?
Yeah, Stacey Abrams. You gotta
I think she's polished. I think she's going to add a lot to the ticket. The downside I see is that she has not won statewide or national office yet. But right now, I think she's the one that can advocate best for the Joe Biden presidency. Liz, thoughts?
I just hope that he put it out there early that his running mate is going to be a woman. Because that pigeonholed him and that made it seem like he could not consider any other countries. I don't want to just have a woman as a candidate as a people just because it's because of the outcome. I want the best.
Yes.
And that might not be a woman. And I'm not saying, sure, that that's not Stacey Adams. Honestly, I don't know. I haven't thought about who the best running mate would be. But I just hate to put it out there so that we now really can't come back to that.
Yeah.
At this point, it has to nominate. It has to have people like that.
Right.
And so, I will say this, it's either going to be Stacey or Kamala. I don't think he's going to pick Elizabeth.
Silly.
So, it's going to be one of those two. So, and I needed to do more research to figure out whether I think that they are the best female candidates at this point. But I really hate that we do that. I really do. Kendrick, as we have learned, and we're not going to go off on that tangent, but yeah, that does another bad taste in my mouth.
It did for me too. That's interesting because it really bothered me too because I felt it was actually sexist in a way to say I'm going to pick a female and just put it out there like that. It's in a way it's sexist and discriminatory, but you're right. It limits him to basically maybe 5 people on the planet.
I would suggest that it's only discriminatory if he has not already chosen. If he's already chosen, he's just saying, this is what I'm going to do, I just haven't shared all the information with you.
He's decided to choose someone based on their gender alone.
Again, if he's already decided, he's just describing who he decided on already.
No, I don't think he had decided at that point. I think he was
I'm talking. You give me my space. I think his best choice is actually London Breed. I like her decision to close her city down. She's the mayor of San Francisco. She closed that joint down early and avoided a big wave of COVID. She showed she was decisive, and although you do not know her name, that was a good decision. If you can't go with her, London Breed. If you can't go with her, there's always Bernadette Sanders. She looks like Bernie, but her hair is orange. It looks like a wig. I'm just saying, she's new on the scene, good candidate. Watch out for Bernadette.
Let me just end this by saying that I had a friend who said, what's Bernie with juice and grapes? He said, okay, well, let's go get the started Bernie 2024. We will be 83.
I
Stop
know.
it. Stop it. It's
Thank you.
over. It's over.
Tree, don't stop till 105.
Thank you. Totally
Can't
agree.
stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop.
All right. All right, well, that's our show for today. I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you, Liz, for joining us. This can't be the last time. You got to come back. We need you back. So, can we get you to commit? You back? You coming back?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
All right.
We'll try to get you back next week. Just to let everyone know, on Wednesday, we will be talking anti-bullying again. We have Dee Sorrell. She'll be on and she'll be talking. Yeah. So she'll be talking some more anti-bullying. But that's our show. All right. Thank you, East, Jam, Liz. Follow us.
Before we go, I would like to shout out again to
Oh,
Stuart.
let me get the shout outs. Hold on. Let me get the shout outs
Hold
for
on,
you.
listen to music. All right, so I'd like to shout out Stuart, Maggie Moore, we got Akila, we got Ty, we got J Toe, we got Jocelyn, we got Michelle, we got Tracy, and New Measurables. We still got your Troy, thanks for the logo again. Thank you, Mr. Whiskers. I don't know the name of Liz's cat. Judgment where he should have. You guys have a good one. Pleasure seeing you. See y'all Wednesday.
All right.
All right. Out.
All right.